let's talk gameplay. Let's talk about the gameplay loop and the things that you do in Mortal Kombat 11. Frankly, as somebody who plays this game a lot and tries to play it about as much as I do Injustice 2, when I used to play Injustice 2 back in the day, I'm sorry to say, no. That is not the case. You have your... So, I'll just break... story mode is going to get its own main thing, but let's break it down. We got a 12-chapter story mode. We have the Towers of Time, which is a weaker multiverse. They only recently made it so that there were more towers available, and they keep adding new towers and things, which is nice, but there's fewer platforms, and they refresh, I feel, slower overall, because we have a 12-hour, a 24-hour, a 3 or 4 day one with the Premier Towers. I feel like this is I think this is also 12 hours normally, but it can be upwards of a week before this particular thing refreshes. The Rapid Towers, which come and go every hour or 2 hours, and then the Tag Assist Towers that hang out every 3 hours. And then your Summon Towers, which this is very cool, that you can get these keys to summon towers in order to get rewards and such. And then your Gauntlet, which I have my personal feelings on. As fucking ridiculous as this Gauntlet is, I really want there to be the option to be able to replay the Gauntlet. Think about the Challenge Tower back in Mortal Kombat 9. 300 challenges, and you could play through all of them. And then pick and choose which ones you want to play again. Do you want to play Challenge 269, where you're Striker against 3 Shao Kahns in a row? You can. Do you want to play Challenge 300, where you as one character, the character of your choice, by the way, have to beat Goro, Kintaro, Melina, and Shao Kahn on 1 health bar while buffs are being tossed around? You want that? You got that. You can play through that. The Gauntlet, which is 30 stages, had a lot of fun, interesting, and quite frustrating challenges all the way through, including stage 30, which fuck this one. But the thing that grinds my gears is that once you're done the Gauntlet, you're done. You don't get to play the Gauntlet challenges anymore. And this single change, making any of the Gauntlet challenges playable, if I want to play Challenge 15, if I want to play Challenge 10, or 20, or 1, or 30, if I want to try and speed run Challenge 30, let us have the ability to do that. And by doing that, you've increased the replayability of the Towers of Time fucking tenfold, man. 20-fold. Because you get to play through more of these towers with unique mechanics. You don't have to let the rewards also be very high anymore. You don't have to give 200 time crystals every time. We're going to talk about those time crystals as well. You don't have to give us 200 time crystals every time you beat this thing. You could just give us consumables. I mean, I have a fuckload of them already, but just give us consumables or crypt resources or currencies or augments for the rewards. Your standard tower fare. Maybe allow us more tower keys for beating towers under a certain time in the Gauntlet. Just by letting the Tower Gauntlet be replayable and even allowing relatively meager rewards, letting the main reward being, I want to speedrun stage 30 on the Gauntlet. There you go. That's how you increase your replayability for this craziness by crazy amounts. And I want to compare this to Multiverse in Injustice 2 for a second, because I feel like that's incredibly important. So we're actually going to switch games and talk about Injustice 2's Multiverse mode and what it does right compared to what Mortal Kombat 11's Towers of Time does wrong. welcome to the multiverse. This is a much better version of the towers that I was talking about, and I'll explain why. Normally, this Earth right here is not available, but it's available because because it's Halloween. It's the event. It's basically the events multiverse. Halloween, Christmas, holidays, television premieres, what have you. You go here for that, and it only shows up during that, and then it disappears. Now, the fact that the Earth count is actually somewhat dynamic. Usually it's 5 Earths, and then the battle simulator. Is it 5? No, it's actually usually 6. But now there's 7. Compared, if you look back to the Towers of Time, and functionally speaking, it's 5 or 6 towers if you've beaten the gauntlet, and 6 if you count the summonable towers. The Tagesis Tower, the Premier Tower, the Rapid Tower, I forget what the oh yeah, character towers as well. That's another one, but character towers are a bit weird, so I guess there is the same amount of runs technically for Injustice, but but unlike Mortal Kombat 11, you're never locked off, unless it's something like this, where, let's say, I don't know, you want to go in here for the Hellboy gear, and we're going to actually do that. I'm just going to go AI because I don't have the patience to deal with this shit right now. You go in here, and this one sort of Earth will unlock. It's, I don't know what to call it exactly, but it refreshes every 6 hours. So, every 6 hours, it refreshes, and that's basically it. But you get some really good rewards. And this is Injustice 2, a fighting game with loot boxes, for fuck's sake!
Another girl's always a good thing. This other girl wants to eat your soul. You're gonna go home hungry.
Alright, now moving on. Now, the thing to note about these multiverses is that the challenges can at least be a little bit interesting. You have to deal with things like temporary armor, you get assists. You don't get your own modifiers, so there isn't a way to basically cheat the system. And yes, I'm letting the AI deal with it because it lets me focus on talking. But it just feels weird that an older game has the more fun towers, and given how this fight's going, I'll probably just cut to the end in order to talk more. Now, as I was saying, these towers inherently feel more rewarding because of the nature of the rewards that you get from these towers. You're guaranteed to get gear, and in the right towers, you're guaranteed to get really high quality mother boxes. Now, granted, again, these are loot boxes. However, as far as loot boxes go, and you know how far they go, it's really not the worst loot box thing, but that really puts it in perspective. Anyway, so this is the only, and they'll tell you when you can only complete a certain event X amount of times. So, can only be completed once, can't play it anymore, gotta wait 2.5 hours for it to recharge. But in the meantime, I could play any of these challenges any amount of times I want to. I could play here as many times as I want to in order to grind out things, in order to just play the game. Yeah, I could come in here to play. I could do the holiday tower when it's around, and if it's not around, I've got character-specific towers that give character-specific gear. I've got 10 hours left on Sub-Zero, actually. I might do that. And I've got about a day and a half left on Poison Ivy. So there's stuff here, and these are character-specific. These are like the character towers in Mortal Kombat 11. But because the rewards in Mortal Kombat 11 are limited, I can see why the character towers are, they don't have unlimited replayability. But every other tower should have unlimited replayability. The Gauntlet should. The summonable tower should. And the thing about this is that this isn't the only sort of multiverse thing that we can do. Suppose that you are online, and suppose that you have access to a guild. Why don't we, say, pop in here. Oh look, there's a weekly multiverse for you if you're so inclined to play with a guild in order to unlock more stuff. And truly, this, for whatever reason, Injustice 2's multiverse, despite the fact that there isn't a single hour multiverse and you can't really summon your own multiverse, there's more to do, and it's more fun. Why that is, I have no... why they took the step back with Mortal Kombat 11, I have no idea. But they really should have... what they should have done is they should have taken your 6 main multiverses, 7 if you count Holiday, and made it 10 different kinds of towers. Character towers, summonable towers, the towers that we already have, plus a few others that are unique. Maybe, I don't know, let's say augment mining for one, if you want to mine for augments specifically. Soul towers. Assist ones instead of tag ones or split tag and assist, so you have tag towers and assist towers. And there you go. Multiverse just feels more fun. And Injustice 2 feels more fun than Mortal Kombat 11, and that's probably one of the weirder things about it. Despite so many similarities, right up to and including an AI battle simulator to mine for rewards, Injustice just feels more fun, and I'm not totally sure why it's going in the downward direction. But we should probably move on to the next part. Okay, back at it, and quite frankly, sick of talking about Towers of Time. So let's try and move on to Classic Towers, which is its own mode. But this is weird. They made it its own mode, but it's basically the same as Injustice 2 again. You have 5 rungs, 8 rungs, 12 rungs, Endless, and Survivor. Nothing too fancy in Classic Towers here, folks. And what I really would have liked is if we go back to Injustice 1, which I'm not going to actually put in this video, but I'll just tell you, in Injustice 1, you had 24 different battle types. You had essentially 24 different classic tower types. You had take on 10 opponents in order to get your true ending and beat evil Superman. You had villains only, heroes only, poisoned, Survivor, Ultimate Survivor, Ensemble, try and beat the entire cast of Injustice, and Impossible, try and beat the entire cast of Injustice on 1 health bar. Again, a reduction, not an increase. And this I know, and I did say earlier that I wasn't quite sure why that is. But honestly, I think I do know. And it's a bit of a crying shame, but we'll talk about that at the end of this video. I'll probably put the time code here if you want to skip all that and just get to that point. But then we come to the crypt. Oh boy, the crypt. If you saw my launch day live stream with my friend Nate, you know of my disappointment with it, and especially Nate's disappointment with it, with this 3D crypt, where the textures haven't quite fully loaded in yet. But of this pit, a 3D fully expound and collect stuff, it sounds like it should have been amazing. But unlike all of the other crypts, but unlike the crypts of yore of 3D Mortal Kombat because the Crypt got started in Deadly Alliance. The rewards are mostly randomized. They're going to be mostly augments, forge materials, if you're lucky, some resources, smash the pots to get some coins. You could get gear out of these, but because I've been through the Crypt multiple times, because you could go through the Crypt multiple times in this one by resetting all of the boxes, you really end up getting to a point where you find most of everything after just a couple of run-throughs. And that's it. You only get a couple of run-throughs and you find mostly everything, and everything else is just left up to chance. Especially when you consider that one of the main ways to unlock just about anything in Mortal Kombat 11's Crypt, well, we're going to talk about two of the ways now, since it's actually the right time to do so, is come in here, take a left, and find this motherfucker. Find the collector. And trade stuff for stuff.
Before I steal your coins.
And I have most of the collector trade stuff already, so he's become pretty useless. Let's head up to the surface and find what everybody is talking about when it comes to the whack shit. Meantime, I'm going to summon a meteor so that it's ready for me when I get outside. See, this is pretty cool too. You can see where the meteors are coming from in the sky. You should just keep an eye on the sky. Watch for anything that's glowing. Getting bigger. I don't see anything yet. Takes a little while. There it comes. I missed it, but once you solve all of the puzzles to really fully expand the Crypt and do all of the grinding necessary to get everything, it becomes a bit of a chore. The Nadan Shrine. Donate between 1,000 and 100,000 coins for your specific tier of reward, be it concept art or music or skins or whatever. And just work at it. And just work at it, work at it, work at it. And if you're wondering why my coin counter isn't going down, is because Mortal Kombat 11 doesn't count coins past 7 nines. Which is a bit weird because I technically have 12 million coins. And the only way to find that out is to win coins in a fight and then see what the true amount is. But that's what the Crypt becomes, friends. And it's not exactly fun. As a quick spoiler alert for the end of the year, I think Mortal Kombat 11 is actually going to be in my top 10 games that I played this year as of right now. I have the list of games that I played so far. Right now, Mortal Kombat 11 just makes it. Just makes it. There's a good chance, though, that, well, it could drop. Depending on how things go, I'm not buying in games that much at this time of year because, as a family rule, starting November 1st, don't buy anything for yourself. That's it. Just don't buy anything for yourself and then you're good. But, you know, maybe I go back and find a game that I played or that I haven't played in a while and I haven't talked about, and maybe that replaces MK11, who knows. But your standard versus mode is quite fun. You know, it's your standard single fight. Tournament I haven't messed with, but same thing. Online, I only play for Combat League. It's okay, but it's an online mode, so treat it as you will. AI battle, this is literally just, I need to prep dinner, but I want to unlock stuff in Mortal Kombat 11. Let's go in here, run the AI battles, and do the thing. And your standard practice, fatality training, and your tutorial, which is... This is probably where Mortal Kombat 11 really shines, is its tutorials are fantastic, teaching you things about basic tutorials, your special move cancels, your crushing blows, advanced defense, frame data, positioning, resources, and character-specific lessons. And then you can take them into practice mode, which is their best to date. Basically everything that doesn't involve towers or basically everything that isn't under Conquer is pretty well made and actually kind of fun, including the customized menu. Now, granted, again, it's more limited than Injustice 2, but in this case, I think it was actually the right call, because making the gear pieces actually actual things instead of, oh, I could get duplicates of Miho Demon, and oh, this is my 4th Sama of the Shirai Ryu mask. You know what I mean? Making that not a problem and making these single items that you have to track down and unlock, great. I wish Injustice 2 actually did that. And just as well, there are no stats. There's no stats. The only thing you can do is fuck around with augments. And these augments are automatically turned off and ranked, so that you can pick whichever Scorpion you want, as long as you make it your default loadout, and then play as the Scorpion of your choice. But this does have its flaws. Sometimes unlocking things is a pain in the ass because they made it a pain in the ass. Namely, things that have not shown up in any of the towers yet, and you're just sitting there waiting and wondering when I'm going to get the damn spear. Or, let's go to Raiden, because he's got a prime example of this. Also, they added, this wasn't at launch, they added the ability to go, oh, what did I just unlock? Okay, cool. So that's what I literally just unlocked, the orange flash thing. That wasn't there at launch, and it's a recent addition. But anyhow. Combat League stuff is a bit of a pain in my ass, because you have to get to a certain tier. And this was kind of expected, but nonetheless, it's not exactly fun to have stuff gated off to people. At least allow us to unlock it in a different way that doesn't involve shelling out cash at the Premier store. And we'll talk about that next, actually. But overall, the customization, while technically more limited than Injustice 2, because you don't have three tiers of ovipositors, really. You don't have rares, commons, and epics that are commons, rares, and epics that have very slightly different appearances to ridiculously different appearances. And really, most people gun for the epics because they're the coolest anyway. Here, everything gets a chance to shine in its own way. And everything gets to shine in its own way, and none of the gear has stats, meaning that you're not hunting down epic or legendary gear just to have stupid, ridiculous stats. There's a video that I have that I'm going to attach to the description of a Deadshot loadout I made over a year ago that had 5,000 attack, or 5,000 strength, which means 5,000 strength augmenting physical attacks, normals, combos, that sort of thing. Not special moves, but just, normals. Killing level 5 AI Captain Cold in 7 hits flat, with a back 3 that did 50% damage. That's not possible in this game, and I'm all the happier for it. Would I have minded if maybe it was 60 instead of 30? I don't know. I probably would be okay with that, but some might see that as being, whoa, that's a little bit too much. So, me personally, might be a bit too much. But maybe it'll make things more interesting, especially if they get unlocked at a steady, consistent enough rate. Having unlocked most of everything already, I'm in an interesting position to say, well, I really don't have much else to do. There isn't much else for me really to do. What else is there for me to do? Just try and grind and hopefully get better augments? Roll the dice and hopefully get some gear? Because really the main way I'm getting gear now is by hopping into specific towers and discovering these pieces of gear at random. It shouldn't be at random, folks. And then your collection. And this is where... And the collection should be a thing where you go to see stuff. Interesting how they specifically left the Yeah, this I've not seen yet. Generic guy. Yeah, see how it's different? You can also see how fatal blows change. You can see, oh, the in-game, there was supposed to be a goddamn grenade launcher involved. Whereas just different grenades. Then the Terminator shows up, slams you into the ground, and guns you down with an assault rifle instead of what we got. Or, let's take a look at probably my favorite example of this, Shang Tsung. You want to see what his fatal blow used to be? A couple of quick strikes, a charged soul blast to send soul energy through you to create blood spikes, and some blast of fire to turn you around, and then a shove into the spikes. This was not just let me turn into ninjas. This would have actually been cool to see, but alas. And then you get environment concepts, story concepts, music stuff, and all of your endings. It's your typical behind-the-scenes thing. These are also a bit of a pain in the ass to unlock, particularly because I don't know where to get half this crap. I still have none of Goro's Lair's concepts, or what have you. So that's it for gameplay. Now let's talk about some of my... real gripes. Then we'll talk about some things that I truly, honestly like about this game, and then we'll get to my final overview. There's a lot here, folks.